I may have been muted. Okay, my name is Georgina Baba, and I am one of the training and account managers for Attainment Company. Today, I will be presenting on our tips and tricks for teaching remotely. Just a few things that I want you all to know. We are recording this webinar. Also, this webinar is the same presentation of the one that I did from last week. So if you were in it last week, if you would like to stay on, great. If you want to get off, I won't be offended by that either. And lastly, my wonderful partner in crime, René Zelt, is going to be joining us this go around, and she's going to be monitoring our Zoom group chat down below. If you have any questions, you can just type it in there, and then we'll be sure to answer them at specific times during the PowerPoint or at the end, wherever there's a natural pause. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to start off by saying thank you. During these uncertain times that change every single day, you all have come together to do what is in the best interest of students. We will get through these tough times, and we will be better at the end of this. We are all going to be Zoom masters, that is for sure. I found this cute meme about Zoom meetings that I wanted to share with you guys. I personally think it's accurate. Well, at least for me. What do you guys think? Totally accurate. All right, so our goal for today is to provide you with tips and tricks for teaching your students remotely, and also keeping in mind practical strategies that the parent and guardian is able to use and follow. So hopefully by the time this presentation is finished, you will feel like you have taken away something to use or something that you can add to your toolbox for a later time. We are going to start off with talking about schedules. So one of the most important things in a classroom is a schedule. So naturally, that should be one of the most important things for remote or distance learning. If you are teaching remotely via video or Zoom, you want to try to maintain a schedule that will work for the student and the parent. However, if you're providing more guidance and assistance to parents or guardians with specific lessons, then you'll want to assist them with ideas for schedules that they're able to follow in the home setting. Some things to keep in mind with schedules are that schedules should help provide parents and guardians with a realistic routine that they're able to follow with their child. Having a routine is so important to making our new routines at home more normal. The schedule should also be individualized for each student regarding specific activities based on those conversations with the parent. Talk with the parent about what they're doing at home now. What is their current routine? And then add more specific items on the schedule that would assist the parent or guardian with as much structure as possible, if that is what they are wanting. Think of other activities that might not necessarily relate to academics. So for example, brushing their teeth, eating breakfast, doing some chores, going for a walk, really anything that the parent would want added onto their schedule. And then keep in mind that schedules should be individualized for each student regarding the type of schedule that the student needs. Think about the schedule that your student was using prior to the closure of schools. Was it an object schedule, a photograph schedule, picture schedule? Was it just a simple written checkoff schedule? I'll show you some examples on the next few slides. So these are some of the objects that can be used for an object schedule. For each one of the scheduled activities, you want to guide the parent as to what type of objects would be necessary for their child, and then help them develop a schedule that would be appropriate for their child. This prepares them for what is coming next. Ask them about the routines or things that they're doing currently in their typical day, and then give them ideas on items to grab that are around their house that they're able to use for their child's schedule. These items can be placed in a basket so that they can easily access them when it's time for that scheduled activity. If they don't have a basket, they can get a box. I know we're getting a lot of shipments from Amazon, Walmart, Target. A box would be fine to put all of those materials in, so that that way it's easily accessible when you need to put them away and transition to the next activity. So obviously not all students will be on an object schedule. So think about your students and what type of schedule they would benefit from the most. If it's a photograph schedule, it could look like this. If the student requires just a picture schedule, it could look like this. If they require a simple written schedule, it could look like this. Parents can use clothespins or a paper clip to move down as their child completes an activity. And then they can also use an expo marker or vis-a-vis to have their child check off their schedule. Now again, you're guiding the parents and helping them so that they have access to these visual schedules, so that they can assist in helping maintain some type of structured environment for their child and your student during this time. For these schedules, I simply used a Word document, inserted a table, and then inserted images from the web for the photographs. And then I also used our symbol support software for some of the other images. However, if you want to create something even quicker, we do have our symbol support software, and you can create a visual schedule in a few minutes. It would look like this, and this took me under a minute to make, and I just typed in the word, and the images popped up immediately. So if I wanted to, I could edit the images if I did not like the images that popped up. But that is an option that's out there as well. No laminator, no problem. So, you know, one of the things that some parents may have in the home setting are sheet protectors. However, if they don't have a sheet protector to place the schedule in, they could use a Ziploc bag, and the Ziploc bag can be used kind of like that sheet protector or that laminated sheet, and then that way they can have their child check off the activities that they've completed. Another important thing for use in the classroom are rules. So again, naturally, that should be one of the things that we use during remote or distance learning. If you're teaching remotely via video, you want to try to maintain rules that are appropriate for that type of work environment. However, again, if you're providing more guidance and assistance to parents or guardians with specific lessons, you'll want to assist them with ideas for rules that they're able to follow in the home setting. The rules should help provide parents and guardians with realistic expectations that they're able to review with their child. Think about the things that the student continues to need work on. Those could be some of the things that you put down as rules for working. The rules should be visual for easier understanding of expectations for students while in the home setting. Keep in mind that your students are not used to this new normal. They need rules in place in order for them to have some type of structure. Also, it takes a few days or a few weeks to establish a routine with the understanding of the rules. So encourage the parent and guardians to keep reviewing the rules and expectation, and also acknowledge that yes, you do understand that this is a difficult situation. We're all in it. I'm in it as a mother and as a mother of 3 children. It is hard, but the more you do, the more understanding your child will have, the more that the parents review the expectations for their own children in the home setting, the easier it's going to become for them to understand. Again, you're providing that guidance to the parent regarding the creating and thinking of rules specific to work in the home setting. These should be rules that the parent is able to review each time they're working on a lesson in the home while they're assisting their child in completing their distance learning. So for the image on the left, I used our symbol support software, and I created this in less than 3 minutes since the images are already associated with different words that you type in. If there are too many visuals, you can always reduce the amount of visuals for each sentence. I also added some images here of classroom rules that I used to use when I was a classroom teacher. So whatever you have, whatever you can modify that's going to work for your students, use that. It doesn't have to be, with our symbol support software. It doesn't have to be what you had previously. Look online. Look for different things that you could possibly use to assist parents in establishing rules for their child. If you're providing lessons via video, you may want to have visuals that you can easily flip to when trying to direct the student. This also may be good for the parent to have as well. So even if it's not during an academic time and the parent is trying to get their child to be quiet or sit in their chair, they can flip to the visual of quiet or sit. So just think of some other ones that the parent may need or want and talk to them. What would they want to have on their visual cues that they can flip through quickly? While teaching remotely or via video during distance learning, you should always try to designate an area to be used. So that designated area could be an area that's used specifically for work time. So also, the designated area should not be overstimulating to the student. If you are teaching via video, find an area that does not have a lot going on behind you. If you can find a blank wall to be against, that would help reduce any distractions for your students. Also, while assisting parents in determining a designated spot, talk about an area such as the dining room or office space or kitchen table where the student is able to complete their work with minimal distractions. And then lastly, you really want your designated area to be clutter-free and organized for easy access to curriculum and the work that is to be implemented. Again, if teaching via video, have the materials ready to grab so that you don't lose the student's focus and attention. If you're guiding parents and guardians, give them ideas as to how to keep things organized. For example, maybe they have a basket for each of the curriculum areas that they are completing work on. Instruct them to place all of the items needed for each of these baskets. These are just some images. Again, just talk to the parents about having a designated area where they are going to make that their area for work time. Again, it could be an office or dining room table. And then make sure that when it is their break time, if they're able to, that they leave that designated area so that they don't become confused between work time and break time. Having a place to store materials is key in making sure that students do not lose focus while instruction is occurring. All of these are just some different ideas for organization that you can provide to the parent. Again, these are all pretty and great, but parents might not have access to these. That's no problem. The reality is that some may not have any baskets or a place, so a box will do. Think of all the boxes or deliveries that, again, are coming from Amazon or Target or Walmart or wherever. Just have a box or a place to put the material just so they can have easy access. The next thing we're going to talk about is a token system. So the token systems should be individualized for the student. Not all students have the same interests or can work for the same amount of time or token economy. These should be changed up for each of your students. The token systems should be easy for the parent or guardian to manipulate and use. Just think of it as though, is this going to be something that's easy? Because chances are, if it's something difficult for them to navigate, then they probably won't end up using it or being consistent with it. So making sure that it's easy for them to use so that that way they can keep up with it. Also, the token system should be used often with the student. This will get them used to the expectations, and then eventually the student can be the one giving themselves the token or the smiley face to place on their board. It will kind of lead into that self-praise, that they'll be happy with what they're doing themselves, and it'll take the parent out of it as well. And lastly, the token system should be used to promote positive praise and reinforcement. The purpose of the token board is to reinforce appropriate behaviors so that you are more likely to see them happen again, and then have the positive behaviors become more frequent. So as an educator, again, you want to assist parents in creating a token board or basic first then board with visual rules. So when I was a classroom teacher, I always found it difficult to have visual rules somewhere else, and then their token board on a separate binder or piece of paper. So what I did was I combined them. So as you can see here, this is a simple first then board that I created with Microsoft Word. And then there's an image that shows that first the student works, and then the student gets a reward. However, for some of our students, you may need to be more specific than just the star for the reward, and actually put the image of what the student is working for. For this one, I specifically put the tablet. You can always provide parents with different images so that they can place whatever their child chooses on the first then board. One thing that you do want to know is you may want to also individualize the images that are at the bottom of the token board. So again, not all students might be working for the same, or might have the same exact rules. So this specific student is really needing to work on sitting in a seat, being quiet, and then working. While some, sitting is not a problem, but maybe they need to have a rule that says continue work. So just really think about how you can adjust it based on your student needs. Also, when the student does get their reward, you want to make sure that the images are flipped. So tablet is moved to the first box, and then work is moved to the second box. This will show the student that when the timer goes off, or when they have a visual countdown, that they will then have to go back to work. You can have a visual countdown that the parent just writes on to the token board, a 3, 2, 1 countdown. You could also use a timer. Timers are great. There's timers on the microwave, timers on the stove, timers on your phone, on your Apple Watch, or whatever. So there's timers everywhere. So making sure to set a timer for students so that they know when their reward time is finished. Also, some students may just need a simple visual puzzle. where they earn pieces, and when they collect all the pieces, they receive that reward. So as you can see here, this student collected pieces to earn time on the computer. And then once they collected all the pieces, the parent and guardian can then set the timer for the student, and that timer is going to signify that their break on the computer is over. You may have had awesome and wonderful Velcro in the classroom, but parents obviously may not have access to Velcro in the classroom. So you might want to just give them the suggestion of just tape. So they can tape on the images on the token board. Also, another thing is a cookie sheet. You can place magnetic letters, numbers, or any type of magnet on there, and the magnets can be used as the tokens for the students to earn in order to work first and then get their tablet. So those are things that you are likely to see in the home setting, and so those can be different options that you can provide the parents. Again, no laminator, no problem. Just like the schedule, you can do the same thing with the first then board and have the parent use those Ziploc bags, and then just a expo marker, and the expo marker they can draw a smiley face or a star or whatever it is that the child you know, is working for or likes. So you want to also make sure that when the child does receive their break time, that it's structured. So the structured breaks should help provide parents with a way to review rules and expectations for the break. You also want to make sure that the visuals are provided for easier understanding of the expectations for the students while they are in the home setting. Here's an example of break rules for a student. Again, you'll want to assist parents in developing some type of break rules. For example, it is telling the student here to choose a break or activity, and it gives them visual choices. Then it's telling them to set the timer for the designated amount of time. And then just keeping in mind that while you're going over the rules, you want to reiterate that when the timer does go off, that their break is finished and that they are to clean up and return to work. So reality is sometimes we want to add additional time to the timer, and I get it. Sometimes we're doing things ourselves and we're like, oh, I just need 5 more minutes. When guiding the parents with these rules, you may want to discuss with them the importance of keeping to their word and set the time on the timer. So if they know that maybe they're doing something, maybe they can add just a little bit extra time just to give themselves a cushion, and just reiterate to them that consistency will make these transitions smoother, and it will make it less difficult for their child to get back to work. And again, I know that it's hard, but consistency is key. Another great thing that we have in our classrooms are communication tools. And these should also be in the home setting as well. The communication tools should help provide parents and guardians with a realistic way for their child to be able to communicate their wants and needs if they're unable to do it verbally. Communication tools also assist you in providing ways for the student to show what they know by pointing to correct answers. And lastly, communication tools provide a way for the student to ask for a break appropriately or let you know if they have a question. So as an educator, you should assist parents in developing a communication tool for their child if one is needed. It can look like this. if the student is at a more advanced level, or more simple like this or this. So these were created with our Go Talk Now Plus iPad app and are downloadable with the paid full version of the Go Talk Now Plus. It gives you the core vocabulary, and you can download the core board that you want or the core vocabulary that you want, either the 32, the 9, the 4. We also have a 20. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret in just a minute, so bear with me, and it's going to be about the Go Talk Now. Another thing that you can do is you can also have a visual that looks like this. I did this one with our Go Talk overlay software, and it contains images that you can place in a 32, a 20, a 9, or a 4 frame. You can also create images for just one frame. And I did that with our Go Talk overlay software, which is also very easy. So now I'm gonna let you in on a little secret with our Go Talk Now Lite app. We have a Go Talk Now Lite app that is free, that you can download from the App Store. It will allow you to preview and use the app to program up to 5 personalized communication pages. So that is one thing that a lot of people don't know about, but just wanted to make sure that you are all aware of it. And I'm going to show you just a video on how the app actually works.
Welcome to Go Talk Now Lite. In this app, you can create up to 5 pages for someone to communicate their wants and needs. One quick thing before we get started. This app is divided into 2 main sections, the player and the page editor. The player is for the person who is using this app to communicate. The page editor is for creating and editing the pages used in the player. Let's take a look at one of the basics, how to make buttons that speak. We'll go into the page editor and tap on Tap to Add Button. Here, we can set what the button does with the red action button. Right now, we're set for text-to-speech, so I'll just type a message here. We can hit preview to hear what it will sound like.
Let's go outside.
We can change the voice from here as well.
Let's go outside.
Next, let's change the written text by tapping on the blue Button Text button, and then on Text. Now, let's take a look at how we can change the appearance of the button. First, by adding an image. The Go Talk image library is included for free, and you will be prompted to download it the first time you try to use it. We can browse by category, or search for something specific. Images can be moved by dragging with a finger, and resized or rotated by pinching fingers together or apart. Same goes for the text. We can add more images as well. And we can change the color of buttons with these controls. Buttons can also play recorded audio messages. Let's make a new button, and this time we'll set the action to recorded audio. Tap Start Recording and then speak your message. What's for lunch? Tap Stop when finished. And let's change the text on this one too. It is also possible to use images from the internet, all from within the app. Now let's exit the editor and go to the player to test out what we've created.
Let's go outside.
What's for lunch? Not bad. Now there are two ways to exit the player. You can take 3 fingers and swipe them down across the middle of the screen, or you can tap and hold the home button for a few seconds. Let's head back into the page editor to cover a few more items. We can create a new page by tapping the plus button down in the corner. And then add blank button page. We can use the arrows along the bottom to change pages. We can change the size of the button layout with page options. Let's set this page up to be a collection of lunch choices. I'll skip ahead a bit to where we have a nice variety of options. I've also relabeled the page by tapping the page title at the bottom of the screen. Now, let's connect this lunch page to the lunch button from the previous page. We could set the action to jump to. Tapping change will list pages we can jump to. However, if we do that, this lunch button, when used in the player, will simply go straight to the lunch page. It is possible to have buttons that both speak and then jump to another page. Let's switch the action back to recorded audio, and then we will set the after action to jump to specific page. Tap set, and then on lunch. Let's once again head back into the player and test things out. What's for lunch? Looking good. Also available are scene pages
It's your turn to wash dishes.
and express pages.
I want a drink.
And that is a brief introduction to the basics of Go Talk Now Lite. Further information can be found at attainmentcompany.com.
So how awesome does that look? And you can get access to that for free if you go onto the App Store and just type Attainment Lite or Go Talk Now Lite, and you'll be able to find it there for you to download. And then that could also be a tool that you can tell parents that they can download on their app, on their iPads as well, and they can have access to it too. So just another resource that you can use or provide to parents. So I hope that was exciting for you. It's always exciting for me to know that I can get some free stuff, right? Also, just think of when you're talking about communication, it also should be communicating for the student on, what they know. How can they show us what they know? How can they communicate that to us? So when we're thinking of that, just think of different ways that the student is able to show you this. So for example, if you're working on counting money or coins via video lesson and you want them to tell you how much money is presented, then, if the child can verbally state how much, that's great. But how else can they show you? So think of a number line. Can they point to it on the number line while holding it up to the camera? Or can you provide the parent with a choice of 3 different numbers? Or can you hold up 3 different numbers on your camera or through PowerPoint and have the student touch the correct answer choice. So again, just providing different ways for them to show what they know, so that it's not all a verbal interaction. We want them to be able to show us visually that they are understanding the content that we are teaching. These are also great tools while teaching remotely. It's again important for students to have a way to be engaged with your online lessons, or to assist parents when they're working with their child in the home setting. So for these, I used our GoTalk overlay software, and you can just search images that are in the software, or you can add images from the web, or you could add your own images. So you can create boards that have as little as 1 image or as many as 32 images. It really just depends on what it is that you're working on with the student. Keeping them engaged with stories. They get to choose whatever book they want to read, and then do they want the parent to read it again? Do they want the parent to go back a page and reread that page? So again, just keeping it so that they are engaged in the learning. If you're asking questions in regards to a story that was read or a text article, just giving them a way to show what they know, to show that they understood the content, to really work on testing their listening comprehension. If you're working on math skills and you're wanting them to identify how many objects were placed on the screen, they can use the visual 4 numbers to show that they were able to count how many objects were on the screen. So again, just a great tool, great ideas just to give you and to assist parents when working with their child. Another thing to think about is making learning engaging. So just think of ways that you can make learning fun, or give parents a way to make learning fun. So the lessons should attempt to use materials that's engaging to students. You also want the lessons that are engaging to be easy for the parent and guardian to facilitate. So again, the easier they are to facilitate, the more that parents are going to do them. I can again speak from experience with this. When distance learning all started, I was having to go into all these different apps and different applications and different Google Classroom and this, that, and the other, and I can tell you my head was spinning. And the schools listened to what the parents' feedback was, and they made it now so that it's just easier for the parents to access, for the students to access, and be able to show what they know. Because if parents aren't able to help facilitate that learning, it's going to be very difficult for the students to get any work done and to stay with where they should be with the current lessons. And another thing to think about while making learning engaging is that they should be visual or hands-on for easier understanding of the content for students while they're working in the home setting. So how can we make learning more engaging? So if you've assigned a worksheet or activity for counting or patterning, guide the parents into bringing items that their child enjoys, such as edibles or specific toys. What specific toys do they like in order to use for counting or patterning, or just whatever their own child enjoys? Have them work some of that stuff into the lesson. Also, think about if the student is working on money skills, have them use real money if they are able to. And then the students can also work to earn real coins, and then they can count the money as they're earning it. So that could be another way for them to continue with their learning of money. This is my fun part. If the student is working on measurement skills, I'm doing this right now with my own children, and it's just so fun to just watch them grow by doing. Have them, complete some steps to making their favorite dessert or food for the family, or, reinforcing the different measurement tools that they're using. And then that way the students are also engaging in something fun and they're learning while they're doing it. And think of, how great a skill this is for our students, especially during this time. We're really working on getting those independent skills, and this would be something that would be fun while they're learning. So if you guys want more good stuff, I'm about to let you in on another little secret. So if you maybe had a phone call and you want to listen to this, all right? So if you go to our website and you look at the different curriculum that we have on our website, you can find samples of lessons. There's science lessons, math lessons, there's social studies lessons, but there are some awesome lessons with our cooking curriculum. So we have a wonderful cooking curriculum called Ready, Set, Cook on our website, and it is amazing. So with this, if you scroll to the bottom, once you find it on our website, there's going to be a little tab that says Samples and Supports. So if you click on that tab, it will give you PDF documents that you can download to get lessons for some of these cooking lessons. So there's one on how to make like a trail mix. There's one how to make chocolate chip cookies, coleslaw, so some lunch activities. There's breakfast that I'm going to show you because we all love a good breakfast. So with this one, check this out. It shows you all the ingredients that you would need, all the utensils that the student would have to grab, and then it gives you the steps that these can be easily printed out, again, placed in a sheet protector or a Ziploc bag, and then that way the student can follow the steps in order to make these awesome meals. And they have been taste tested, so they do taste good. And with this one, there's 8 free recipes that you can download from the website. So you have access to those, and then you also have access to the teacher's guide that shows you, how to go ahead and teach that lesson. But it's just a great visual to have. The students have the step-by-step in order to make the omelet and some of the other fun cooking things. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love PowerPoint, and I love the way that you can make your lessons engaging if you're teaching via video, or if you're being asked to come up with curriculum or a PowerPoint slide to teach a specific concept for your student. These next few slides are all done through PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you just how you can make them a little bit, make your lessons a little interactive. So for this one, they are working on counting by tens using the dimes up above. So when you're counting with the student, you can have them help you count, or you can have them count, or the parent is assisting them in counting by tens. So 10, 20. And then if they come down here and they choose the incorrect answer, hopefully your volumes aren't too loud, the wrong answer will disappear if they got it wrong. So if they got the right answer, 20 cents, it will clap for them. And there's just a few slides of these that I just wanted to show you. So again, if they click on the wrong answer, it will disappear, and then the right answer will clap. And with PowerPoint, you can change the different sound effects, or you don't have to have sound effects, but just some fun ways to make learning engaging. I'm going to do a presentation on Thursday at 1 o'clock on how to make your lessons engaging with PowerPoint. So if you'd like to learn some of these tricks, you can join me then. Here's one on 3D shapes. Very simple. What shape am I? I have no flat faces. I have no straight edges. I have just one curved face. I am a... Great job if you said sphere. So again, done through PowerPoint, just making it different and fun. And this last one, hot versus cold. A pie is, and if the student were to hit cold, it would disappear. And if it's hot, it would just go to the next slide, and it says, you are right, pie is hot. I guess pie can be hot or cold, just depending on when you eat it, or if you eat it straight out of the refrigerator. But anyway, just wanted to show you that, just to show you that you can make anything pretty much interactive. So just a few more slides, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. If you visit our website, you will find 10 additional ways that the Attainment Company is supporting districts and teachers across the nation with distance learning. We also have this tips for distance learning PDF document. If you would like it, I will give you information on how to access that. Just some quick tips on what to do as far as making routines, maintaining routines as much as possible, making symbol supports for parents and really guiding them on those types of things. When you go to our website, you will see this red banner across the middle of our website, and you will see this orange box, or I'm sorry, this orange thing right in the middle, orange button right in the middle. And if you click on that, it's going to take you to our 10 simple solutions for distance learning. It is going to look like this, and you can see that there are more things on here, but I want to point out just a few of them. The first one is our Lite apps. So if you go to the App Store and type in Attainment Lite, several different apps will pop up. These are trials, but they'll give you access to some of the content. So just like the one I showed you earlier with our Go Talk Now Lite app, you can find some other apps. If you haven't signed up for our web-based subscriptions, this is a great resource for you. It currently has 5 of our research-based ELA software titles and can be accessed for free until June 30th. We also have another 2 different softwares that are available, Computers at Work and Show Me Math. And so all of this is available through the web browser, and it can be used on your computer, the iPad, the Android tablet, Chromebook. So if you want access to that, I'll give you information on who to contact for that. Also, we are providing free virtual lessons that we've created. So if this is something that you're interested in, you can get in contact with your account manager, and they can send them to you as they're created. So we've done some on shapes, and we've done one on Happy Spring. We've done one on compromising, because right now is a time when we all need a lesson on compromising. So we've just done several of those. And again, if that's something that would help you in this situation and help you provide some lessons to your students, please reach out to us, and I'm going to let you know who your account manager is in just a minute. The next thing are our live webinars. Just keep checking back here for webinar times as we add them. They'll be added here. And then lastly, you'll want to check our website for additional free lessons like the ones I showed you. There are more. So like I said, math, science, social studies, really a lot of our curriculum has samples, and most of them, it's not just one lesson. So just hint, hint, if you want some extra supports to provide parents, you can definitely find some on our website. We do have a webinar scheduled for tomorrow with our lovely Janet Estervig. She is our transition guru. Her webinar tomorrow is titled Home and Community-Based Services and the Final Settings Rule and How It Impacts Your Students. So if that's something that you would like to join her on, it is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Zoom information is here and also on our website. If you want some fun ways to make your learning more engaging, you can join me on Thursday, April 30th at 1 o'clock, and I can go through the different ways of making your PowerPoints fun and engaging so that way you can use them with students. So I talked about several different attainment products during this webinar. For the purpose of helping make things easier for you to use in the home setting, we are going to offer a 20% off code for the purchase of our symbol support software app and or our GoTalk software overlay. So if you want this, you can contact your account manager for a coupon code, and the coupon code will be good through May 6th. Again, some of you are saying, well, who is my account manager? I'm going to tell you. If you're in need of a certificate for your attendance of this webinar, you're going to email info@attainmentcompany.com. And you are going to include the following: your full name, the name of the webinar, which is Tips and Tricks to Teaching Remotely, and the date. Like I said earlier, I presented on this last week, so just make sure that when you are reaching out to info@attainmentcompany.com that you're placing the date, which is 4/28/2020, so we can make sure to place that on the certificate. And lastly, here are our lovely and handsome account managers for Attainment Company. If you don't see your state on here, no worries. You can just email info@attainmentcompany.com with any questions that you have, and they will get you over to your account manager. Again, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for all that you are doing to support students during this time. I know the parents really appreciate everything that you are doing with all the learning and things that you're trying to help them with. And I know that they are forever grateful. And we will get through this. If you guys have any need or have any questions, please reach out to us. We are here to support you, and we look forward to meeting your needs in the future. Thank you.